Good morning, Cosmo. How are you? Good morning, students. I am in the midst of travels, and as I'm traveling from this business event, headed back home, I do want to make sure I review some assignments for you. Pick up where we left off. I don't want you left out. And so let's jump back into our chapter 7, properties of the hair and scalp. And let's look at hair shaft structure. That's our recap for today. And then we're going to move into chemical composition of hair. Again, we are taking the opportunity to read our chapters on our own. Also, complete your index cards, which hold your terms. So I need you to be studying those. And then also, I need you to do your check-in questions for the chapter. Okay. Um, at any time, I could ask for them. We're going to check them. We're just going to see how your progress is doing. We are working on this chapter this week. And this week, I do plan to give you a test date. Okay. So we'll probably do this week and next week, and we'll close it out at the end of next week, moving on progressively to our next chapter. All right. And so, as I recap, we talked about hair shaft structure. There's a hair shaft and a hair root. We know that the hair root lives inside of the follicle underneath the skin. It is the only part of the hair that is alive. The hair shaft is when the hair exits the pore, and that is the hair that you can see with your naked eye. Okay, so it's a lot of details to go along with the hair shaft. But first, I want to tell you, remember there are three parts of the hair shaft: the cuticle, the cortex, and the medulla. The cuticle is going to be what we see, the outermost layer of the hair. The cortex is going to be the second layer, okay? And then that's where all the chemicals and the pigment lies. And then the medulla is the innermost layer of the hair and sometimes absent in fine to very fine hair. So if you have fine, also another word for thin hair, if you have thinning hair, you may not have a medulla, okay? And so those terms are all here. And so those terms should be on index cards as well: the hair cuticle, cortex, and medulla. Okay. And the medulla is called sometimes the hair pith or core. All right. So it's the pith or core. And it's sometimes absent and fine to very fine hair. All right. I need you to know those are terms that you're going to always remember. Okay. And here's a visual construction of that. The cuticle is the outside layer. Cortex, okay, is, and honestly, when you talk about the cuticle, you're not talking about like one layer of hair. You have 6 to 10 layers, okay? And so when you're looking at split ends, the split ends are not just happening on one layer. The split ends is the beginning of a really disastrous thing. So you got to catch it before it start continuing splitting up, because it could split up through all the layers and you'll have to cut that hair off. Okay, so it says the cuticle. The cuticle is 6 to 10 layers, so it's pretty thick. It protects the cortex. All right, this is what happens in the cortex. All chemical services are in the cortex. The elasticity, the strength of the hair is in the cortex. All right, the moisture levels are in the cortex, and the melanin, the pigment of the hair, is in the cortex. This is why the cuticle is there to protect the cortex. Okay, so when we have damaged hair, we really leave the cortex unprotected. All right. That cuticle could be damaged through chemicals. So we're sometimes trying to change something in the cortex, but it's so strong, it's damaging the outer layer, which is the cuticle. We'll talk more about that and do some visualizations on some real hair. And then we have the medulla. Okay, the medulla is sometimes absent in fine to very fine hair. It's the core, it's the pith of the hair shaft. So the finer the hair, the thinner the hair, there will be no core. All right, but of course, if the hair is thicker, coarser, you will find that there will be a core. All right, and then there's the term keratin. Keratin, the hair's protein. Keratin is what the hair is made up of. It lies in the cortex area. So a lot of times when we have issues with overprocessed hair, we have issues with chemical issues going on with the hair. You can put back in the hair what the hair is made up of. So if the hair is made up of a high amount of keratin, you have to use keratin protein to rebuild it. All right. And when you rebuild it, it becomes a great opportunity for her to become stronger and longer. So I wanted to share that with you on page 134. Here's an example of a chemical service. So if this is a relaxer, guys, it has to go through 6 to 10 layers of the cuticle. Then it will go to the cortex, start to break down in the cortex, and your new texture will be found in the cortex. We lock that in with a neutralizer, but every time we want to change that texture permanently, we will use a chemical. And we will have to go through the cuticles to get to the cortex where the chemical can break down the texture of hair. And so that should be a fun thing to learn too, because chemicals are still so popular. All right, so it's just a great opportunity. We have the pigment that's found in the hair. All right, here's your check-in questions: name and describe the three layers of the hair shaft, and what type of hair will always have a medulla. All right, the three layers of the hair is cuticle, cortex, medulla. And then what type of hair will always have a medulla? Coarser hair, thicker hair, beard hair. All right. Looking at chemical composition of hair, and this is an area where I want everyone to study. The chemical composition of hair, we talked about keratin. Says hair is composed primarily of a protein called keratin. All right, we're going to highlight that. The living cells that form the hair are found in the hair bulb. We talked about that already. All right. The living cells that form the hair found in the hair bulb. These cells go through a process called keratinization. Yes. Do I need you to understand what that is? It said keratinization consists of the following three steps. So this is building the hair, creating the hair, forming what you see as hair. Newly formed cells mature and fill up the fibrous protein called keratin. The cells move upward, okay, lose their nucleus and die. All right, so when it said the cells move upward, okay, so you have living hair root as it grows upward through the follicle, okay, it's going to lose the nucleus and die, which confirms that the hair shaft is not alive. Once it pokes outside of the follicle, once it sprouts out, it loses its nucleus, its lifeline, and it dies. So, hair that you see is not alive, okay? Once the hair strand emerges from the scalp, the hair cells are dead and completely keratinized, which means they are hardened, okay? Hair is approximately 90% protein. This is a key, all right? Remember, hair is approximately 90% protein. In some cases, it has been said that hair is 97% protein. Let's go by this text. This particular text says hair is 90% protein. All right. So you're looking at 100% of your hair, and 90% of it is protein. When your hair is damaged, when you got stuff going on with your hair, skin, and nails, it's all on the same system. The best way, the best solution to repair it is to put back in it what it's made up of. I need to put protein in my body. I need to also use protein topical, which means I need keratin treatments. I need some form of protein to realign, reset, and rebuild my hair. I have to give it what it's made up of. All right. So a person could have a million different treatments, but at the end of the day, if hair is 90% protein, you will need to replace the protein that's missing. All right. Okay. You will need to replace that. Right. And we do that with protein treatments, whether it's masks, whether it's shampoos, whether it's blowout treatments. We replace the protein. If you do not replace the protein, the hair could continue to diminish and become what we called is it is not under the structure of hair. All right, so it becomes waste minerals, which is pretty much shedding and breaking of the hair. Okay, sometimes they call it beyond repair. Okay, the remaining portion is a combination of water, so 90% protein, 10% of water, lipids, and traces of minerals. All right, we said amino acids are the protein building blocks that comprise hair. Amino acids. So products that include amino acids, you may find them in shampoos and conditioners. Okay. And so shampoos and conditioners with amino acids can continue to help rebuild or keep hair in its strongest state. Okay. It says the major elements that make up human hair are combs. I think we talked about this before. Combs, elements, they are carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, and sulfur. That's combs, okay? And look at 51% carbon, 21% oxygen, 6% hydrogen. Nitrogen is 17%, and sulfur 5%. These are the elements that make up what we call hair. It says amino acids linked together end to end. All right, we're about to see some pictures. A very strong chemical bond joins together called a peptide. So when you have amino acids that connect end to end, that then we have a new structure called a peptide bond. Okay, the peptide bond also called an end bond. It says as amino acids are linked together by peptide bonds, they form a long chain called polypeptide chain. When you have likeness of the same bonds, the same cells, the same everything, they could come together and call polypeptide chains. Poly is going to be a lot or many. Okay. And then peptide, of course, you have end bond. All right. Peptide bond is an end bond. So it's a lot of end bonds that form together to help bring us what we call hair. Okay. Here is figure 7.4. Okay. This is a polypeptide chain. You look here, you have a salt bond, you have a disulfide bond, and you have a hydrogen bond. All right. The salt bond, the sulfide bond, and hydrogen bond. You guys are going to see them in a minute. I want you to remember the disulfide bond. Okay. I want you to remember the disulfide bond. All right. So I'm going to go over this bond. And then that's going to be your reading assignment for today. You're going to go over cortex side bonds. All right. It says the cortex is made up of millions of polypeptide chains. Remember what polypeptide chains are? Poly is a lot of end bonds, which are cross linked like a ladder, okay, run by three types of side bonds. So side bonds are the bonds that help that allow us to have elasticity, moisture. It allows us to roll the hair. It allows us also to break the chemical bonds, to have hair color, to do relaxing. Okay, these are side buns. The side buns account for 1/3 of the hair's overall strength. So you got to make sure the hair stays in optimum strength because we need all of these buns to be working. All right, we don't need nothing to be slipping. If something is, our hair is going through something. It says a hydrogen bond is a weak physical side bond. All right. And guess what breaks it? Heat and water. So that means your hair, just say you have a roller set, you go to the shampoo bowl, you put water on it, that roller set breaks down. Okay. And the hair is no longer a roller set. Well, as soon as you put the water on that hairstyle, it broke down and you broke the hydrogen bond. Okay, you can break and you can bind together the bond. You can break it with water, and then when you roll it back up, put it under the dryer, it is, restored. And so that's a physical side burn. All right. Um, Easily broken by water or heat, such as doing wet and thermal styling. All right. So if you're gonna do a silk out and the person's hair is 100% natural, but as you blow it out, you started to break down those hydrogen bonds, and as soon as you put the pressure comb or you put the flat iron over it, the hair now instead of being curly is straight. So you have broken that hydrogen bond from overly curly to straight. Okay, and some people go from curly to straight. That's temporary. All right. Because whenever you involve water, it's going to destroy it. A salt bun, and this is for you to, for us to review in the future as well. It says a salt bun is a weak physical side bun, just like the hydrogen buns, okay? Broken by pH. Okay, these are broken through pH. You think about shampoos and just different products. Every product that you're putting on your hair, skin, body, your nails has a pH, okay? So they're easily broken by strong alkaline or acidic solutions. And so salt buns are going to go hand in hand with the sulfide buns, guys. Okay? Salt buns are going to go hand in hand with the sulfide buns. Okay, the sulfide bond is a strong side bond. There are fewer disulfide bonds than hydrogen or salt bonds, but the sulfide bonds are much stronger, which means they can only be broken chemically. Okay, so all your chemical services, whether it's hair color, relaxer, permanent wave, has to be done through the sulfide bond. Make sure you are um, checking out the terms, reading, and reviewing. Okay. This is a great chart to start with. 7-2 hair buns. You have the bun, you got the type, you got the strength broken by, okay, one water and heat, one pH, okay, and then you have broken by thioperms, biorelaxers, hydrogen peroxide, hair color, all those great components. Okay. So you make sure you guys check that out. Let's look at our caution. It says many thermal tools reach temperatures of 450. We do have flat irons that go up to 450. And here's the thing, guys, all because the flat irons, I've even worked for a company where the flat iron went up to 460. Even though we have the capability of going up higher and higher on our tools, that doesn't mean the hair that you're working on can hold it or withstand it. Okay. And so all because it's there, that doesn't mean this is what you have to be. You have to use it all the time. Use discretion at all times in determining what heat to choose to go with this person's hair. As we learn more about flat irons and pressing combs, we will learn more about the type of coatings on those flat irons, such as titanium, ceramic, so on and so on. Okay, it says thio permanent waves and thio relaxers. We're talking about permanent waves. Okay, and Jerry curls. They reform the bonds with neutralizers. All right, hydroxide chemical hair relaxers break the sulfide bonds and convert them to lanolin bonds. Okay, lanolin bonds. All right, and these bonds cannot be reformed, which means in order to get rid of them, you have to cut them off. All right, so this is where some people do the big chop to start all over. All right, do the big chop to start all over. Let's look at the did you know. This is great for my colorists as well. The term hair color, two words, refers to the hair's natural color. Hair color, one word, is the term used in beauty industry to refer to an artificial color. So if someone is saying, well, my hair color, I'm a level 4, I'm going to say, well, I'm going to use two words, hair color. And then if a person tells me they want to go to a number 4 hair color, I know that that's a box color or that's a formulated color. It is something artificial. It's not something that they were born with. Okay. The assignment that I wanted you to do, go ahead and review a hair shaft, view composition of hair. All right, review those terms. But I want to start you to reading hair pigment. Okay, I want you to start reading hair pigment. We're going to pick up on that tomorrow in class. That's going to be all today for my Cosmo students. I just want to do a short video, giving you a little review, and also giving you an opportunity to continue reading and moving forward in the chapter. All right. Your assignment is to read about hair pigment. Okay. Read more of intro into hair pigment, and then we will pick it up from there later on this week. Y'all have a blessed and amazing day, Cosmo. And if you need anything, I am in my travels, so please email, and Miss Richardson will be able to reach out to you as soon as possible. Thank you.